Our next thread is titled, Friend That Doesn't Like My Child. How do you handle friends that don't like your children? To be fair, she doesn't like any children, but it's still tough. She wants to spend time together, but only if my child isn't around. She won't visit us in our town where we have sitters we trust, but she expects us to travel to her where we have no sitters. She's also upset my husband and I can't drop over $4,000 to go to her destination wedding, and she blames our child that we can't go. Our child isn't even the reason. That's just a lot of money when we have other expenses and a vacation planned for next month already. It's beginning to become exhausting being her friend. Edited to add, the resort she picked is adults only, so I don't have the option of bringing my one-year-old. My child and I would be separated for a week, and I've only ever spent one night away from him so far. Now, as you probably won't be surprised to hear, pretty much I think 100% of the comments say something along the lines of, you should drop this friend. And clearly, this doesn't seem like the best possible friend that you could have. But I wanted to make a comment around, I think it's much harder. Somehow, maintaining friendships as a parent is a very different experience to maintaining friendships as someone who is either single or just not a parent. At least someone who is childless is just a very different person. The moment you have kids, then you have a very different type of responsibility to your kids than otherwise. And I think not only is it a little bit harder to relate to people just because, say, for example, my day-to-day is very much involved with our baby. And so quite a lot of, like, if someone asks, hey, how are you doing? Then not only will I say how I'm doing, but very often I'll also say how my baby's doing, because how he's doing reflects a lot on how I'm doing and vice versa. And I can totally get that if you don't have kids, you kind of don't really care, and having that conversation happen all the time around you might be a bit like, well, this is just not meshing with me. So I think that some aspect of distancing yourself a little bit from friends that you may have had before you had kids, after you have kids, kind of happens a little bit naturally, just because people are just not on the same level, and the conversations that they have, the interests that they have, can't really be the same anymore for a lot of people. So some aspect of it is pretty normal. The part here that I think is absolutely not normal is that this is a very entitled friend. I don't even know, like, the moment you find yourself saying a statement like, it's beginning to become exhausting being her friend, like, I just wouldn't be friends with someone who is tiring to deal with. I don't know why people do this to themselves. I don't know how you ended up even having a conversation around, hey, it's going to cost $4,000 to come to my wedding, and I expect you to come and spend a week there and dump your kid because I don't like your kid, and I don't care. I just don't know who would ever want to be friends with a person like this, and how you ended up in this place where this is even a conversation or even a thought that went through your head. Because if I had a friend who said that to me, I'd kind of be like, cool, bye. Like, I don't need to interact with you anymore. My friendship, my time is worth so much more than this. So yeah, I when it comes to how do you handle friends that don't like your children, I think that might be a bit of a deeper question that you can go into. This particular situation is a pretty clear-cut one where I'd say just cut the friend out. There's no point in investing time here. But in general, if you have friends that don't like your children, my first question would be, is there a reason they don't like your children? And is that because you are lacking as a parent in some kind of way? Or there's a problem that you need to handle as a parent? Because generally speaking, most people don't like children when there are issues. So if they're rowdy, if they throw tantrums, if they're violent, if they're aggressive, if they're sore losers and not fun to play with, those are the types of reasons that most adults would dislike children. If it's just someone who's like, yeah, I just can't handle being around children, then I would probably say, yeah, well, then too bad. Like, I have a kid now. My kid is going to be with me, and I would much rather spend time with my kid than spend it with anyone else. Some examples of the responses. One person says, I'd message her and let her know not only is she ridiculous, but she isn't in line with your life anymore. I'd say, sorry, can't be friends with someone who constantly complains about my child and me not wanting to be away from my child. Hope you have a good life. And that would be it. Yeah. Pretty simple to end relationships, honestly, to end friendships. You just kind of stop replying. Next person says, she sounds like a selfish, entitled brat. I have dropped friends in the past when I realized that I felt more drained than energized with them in my life, and I have no regrets. I find that the older I get, the smaller my group got. And now I have 10 very close friends of 10 to 35-year friendships. And those are my friends that I will always have and love dearly. People and friendships change. It's okay to walk away. And I would encourage it if this is how she treats you. I do think that if you spend a lot of time with people in your life who are just negative and who cause that negativity in your life, then it's not good. It's not healthy for you. It's not the best possible environment for you. And I wouldn't surround myself with it either.